Mirella Tidecrest stole her first breath on a muggy sunrise in late July 1999, inside a reclaimed boathouse perched on broken pilings above the slow green swirl of Louisiana's Calcasieu River. A shrimp boat's diesel cough echoed across brackish flats, while her mother, a rambling Zydeco fiddler who presses gardenia petals in her rosin pouch, coaxed a corner of the world lull that made dock ropes hum. Her father, an estuary cartographer who sketches tiny cloud alligators in his log margins, leaned so near their freckles grazed and promised a newborn that river fog, gossip rumors, and tiny clothing grids would always bend for a soul brave enough to occupy every inch of her outline. Curves had curled bold through the Tidecrest bloodline ever since an Acadian ancestor refused corsets on a pirogue, so no one blinked when baby Mirella split a second tea-stained swaddle before the kettle hissed. Granny Odette slid a shrimp net needle through every torn seam, patched the gaps with scraps clipped from an old Mardi Gras banner, then chuckled that extra fabric cost pocket coins while teaching a child to shrink might cost her entire horizon of tomorrows. Primary classrooms smelled of pencil lead, beignet sugar, and bayberry sneaking under warped sash frames. Mirella already loomed half a head above her classmates, blotting the overhead beam whenever she diagrammed wetlands on the pull-down map. One damp recess, two boys hop-stepped around her chanting, "Tug barge," each time her rubber boots smacked a chalk square. That dusk, she combed the rack line for soda cast polished satin by brackish swell, threaded them on fishing leaders, stitched the sparkling chain down her moss hoodie, and glided into class at first bell, scattering rainbow freckles across ceiling tiles. A visiting literacy aide captured 8 shaky seconds on a prepaid flip phone, uploaded the shimmer to a fledgling video nook, and by lunch 15,000 strangers applauded the girl who turned teasing into bay-like glitter. When homework time arrived, Mirella inked one promise, in violets beside her fractions. Clouds crowd only until you flash them bright enough to drift. Weekends belonged to Camera Dock, where her mother's fiddle slides braided with diesel pumps whining awake, catfish popping oil, and gulls haggling over shrimp shells. Ready-made jeans clamped halfway on Mirella's hips, so she traded tip-jar quarters for sun-bleached cast net, unraveled it into soft rope, crocheted high-rise culottes, sprayed spoonbill silhouettes with squid ink, imposed as sunset against rust-streaked pilings while her cousin snapped grainy frames. Each photo landed inside a scrapbook-style diary she named River Lantern. The very week, a picture-sharing app trickled across patchy bayou towers. Captions shifted from Cajun slang to plain truths like "Curves anchor storm gusts, steadier than steel walls." Before 16 candles flickered, she counted 53,000 invisible friends, tapping hearts under every apricot frame. Proof that bright screens hush cafeteria whispers faster than any assistant coach whistle. A renewable energy scholarship hauled her east to the University of Florida. Daylight vanished inside wave flume labs. Nights belonged to a 24-hour empanada cart glowing neon melon beneath live oak limbs. The heat lamp became her lone softbox. Between black bean orders, she filmed 90-second reels, folding deli parchment into swamp Irish barrettes while explaining dart rotation in half-river hush, half-lecture zine. One up-layered, laughing-all calls over a lo-fi beat while she chain-stitched reflective anchor cord into thrift denim. And 2 dawns later, the counter leaped beyond 1.2 million. Gulf Coast style pages crown her the empanada couturier, though every sponsored email locked at size 16. She stowed each pitch in a folder labeled shrinking nets, wiped guava glaze from her cuff, and flipped another pastry. Both Cambria. Hurricane season stormed in with an email from Columbia Sportswear. The brand wanted her to co-design a humidity-proof shell capsule called Delta Pulse. Mirella answered with 3 Levi-Solid terms. Patterns must stretch to 60-inch hips, half the creative crew hired from community college fashion programs, and 10% of net revenue spent on marsh grass restoration along the entire Atchafalaya Basin. Columbia signed before sunrise pinked the lab skylight. The campaign shoot unfurled at dawn on a cypress bar, where egrets etched white commas into mirror-still water. Mirella guided curvy paddle surfers across glass ripples, while a drone carved lazy loops overhead. When the lookbook dropped, every extended-size coat vanished in 41 hours across 28 countries. River lanterns vaulted beyond 700,000 gleams. Still sprinkled in cinnamon sugar from an all-night fry shift, she balanced her phone on a flower tub, dug behind the propane tank, and live-streamed damp thanks beneath buzzing fluorescence. First tug of tide on your sleeve. If this story already sparks a current inside your chest, pause for a breath and click subscribe now. One light tap secures your front row rail so the next adventure rolls into your notifications before algorithm wines can blow it askew. Spotlight shimmer always calls hungry rumors. A clickbait vlog insisted Mirella strapped steel plates around her waist beneath Delta Pulse coats. At sunrise, she paddled a cedar board past sawgrass fringe, planted bare feet in sports bra and linen shorts, traced every scar with crushed bougainvillea powder, and ripped a fiddle run so gritty, herons rose on cue. 10 million viewers reposted the jam tagged Bougainvillea Prove, brushing pink dust across their own routes until gossip drowned like a slow week. Part wages, blended with capsule royalties and whipped into Tidecrest butter, a custard swirling pecan flour fat, satsuma oil, and mica specks that gleam pearl and foam flash. 19,000 tins cooled on her father's drafting table, lids tied with braided trot line. Each label stamped, "Moisturize your horizon." Stock emptied in 82 minutes, raising $197,000, 20%. Birth beacon grants that ship industrial surgers and field sound kits to plus-size teens and backwater schools from Bayou LaForge to Big Bend. 8 months later, 36 grant winners stage a floating fashion and dolphin song fete aboard a retro shrimp scow wrapped in LED plume grass, streaming live to breakfast screens from Nairobi to Nook. New Orleans Fashion Week, mid to levy lore when a backstage blower shredded her emerald mesh gown from hip to shin 90 heartbeats before runway. Mirella tore neon dock rope from a rigging rack, laced the rip like hiking hooks, and strode the catwalk as though the splice had slept in the original sketch. Shutters clicked like crawfish cracking. Vogue Delta dubbed the rescue rope cadence, and another million river lantern beacons lit up before brass bands even tuned. A month later, a jilted aide leaked trimmed emails hinting she demanded alligator sliders and chauffeured airboats for her rescue spoonbill, Juniper. She posted the entire thread revealing requests for refillable water urns, lentil stew for crew, and caption tablets for deaf stylists. That month's affiliate wave, 136 grand, rushed into biodegradable crab trap trials off Terrebonne Bay. Fans repeated her dockside credo. Receipts shine brighter than rumor grit until whispers dried out like morning dew. By midsummer, the lantern glowed with 6.9 million Instagram companions, 3.5 million real voyagers, and just over 2 million unwavering channel subscribers. Engagement perched at 10% and crushing brand spreadsheets. Cartier invited her to headline a topaz surge reel filmed inside the Century Lens at Sabine Pass Lighthouse. She nodded once. Cartier pledged therapy stipends for oyster deck crews battered by late-season hurricanes. The finished clip, her wrists reflecting amber shards across iron ribs, became Cartier's most saved post of the quarter. Family steadies her keel. Twice each month she streams Porch Line Groove. Mom tugs funk chords on the fiddle beside a propane skillet. Dad recites cloud haiku, and Mirella flips thrift denim under cafe bulbs. One broadcast soared past 9 million when Juniper waddled through powdered sugar and sneezed a glitter storm onto the mic. A wildlife rescue now sponsors every stream, tagging rehabilitated spoonbills with solar beacons funded by Tidecrest butter. Butter revenue sailed past 12 million before its second equinox. She leased a dormant oyster shuck shed, punched skylights through corrugated tin, and hired furloughed deckhands plus design grads to whip custard and tie lids by hand during midday dance breaks to fiddle house mixes. Efficiency analysts pleaded for heat shrink seals, but she repeated her mother's maxim: fingertips keep legends long after robots forget, and rope knots remain. Mental weather candid colors every upload. Cypress Ridge portraits sit alongside. Beignet truck selfies captioned same sky, different tide. She shares breath tracks recorded in limestone caves, printable resilience sheets in English and Choctaw, and sliding scale therapy links. 134,000 followers call her Shoreline Honesty their first calm harbor. Bimini rides glitter beneath crushed shell paint. Hundreds pedal marsh levees at sunset wearing Tidecrest butter on collarbones and LED cattail tassels on spokes. Ticket profits swell beacon grants and install wheelchair snorkel lifts at spring vents. Local boot-in shacks stay open late. Po' boy sales spike 15% on ride nights. Mirella leads on a vintage cruiser with Juniper plush strapped front. Pausing to retie any rider's trailing lace. She is finishing a memoir titled Currents Keep Names for 11 Language Shelves next spring, while a documentary crew records her quest to convert retired NOAA buoys into floating maker labs for estuary schools. Puma's Y2Way Wave Lantern sneaker launches next quarter, threaded with reflective rope and cushioned by algae foam, funneling 10% of revenue into beacon ceilings along the Gulf Arc. Second surge of vintage drift your way. If your subscribe badge is still bright red, cool it slate gray in this heartbeat. One tap guarantees the next story washes into your queue before algorithm tides rearrange the channels. When playback settles, wander to the description. Waiting there. Brand new Tidecrest butter batches, the quickest portal to Beacon Grant entry, tonight's porch line playlist, and a discreet compass made of research-backed conversation sparks and steady confidence drills, all mapped to guide you toward genuine love and the single most reliable path for igniting real attraction in every woman you encounter. It is free, open, and one click away. If the soda cap spine glitter rope cadence gown save, or Juniper sugar sneeze lifted even half a grin, tap the like heart, drop a bright ripple in the comments, and send this voice to a friend whose sails hang limp. Every curve redirects currents, every scar refracts moonlight, and the delta bows to any soul bold enough to plant both boots on the pier and greet tomorrow eyes wide. Final whisper breezes across the mic. Subscribe this instant. Stake your rail, find that love link in the description, and return on the next rising tide when a fresh story shimmers beyond the breakers and courage gently calls your name again.